lot of controversy.
And to look at the other side of it, which is a very sarcastic thing, I'm going to say, but because of our medical problems where doctors can't spend more than 10 to 12 minutes per patient, they probably love you. I mean, you can really be of assistance to them.
The clients or the physicians?
The physician. The physician.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying that sarcastically, but on the other hand, I really believe it.
Actually, it's true. You know, Dr. Cowan and I, the patients will see him, and he'll give them some information, and they go, oh my gosh, what do I do with all this? And he'll say, go see Jennifer, and she'll help you incorporate these changes and work through some of these issues. And I wish there were more. A lot of physicians are really, are actually taking the time. They're either not taking insurance anymore, they're doing super bills, or they're just working things out differently so that they can spend that time with the clients. But I think the more we can all work together, it can only serve to help people.
Of course. Now, you don't work just with children.
No.
You work with couples. Now, what about the individual? What kind of individual will come to you?
It might be someone who's looking to lose weight. It might be someone who simply is dissatisfied with their life. They know that they just don't feel very good inside, and they know that things just aren't right, and they've kind of been turned off by conventional medicine, and so they'll come to see me. Oftentimes people might have chronic issues like allergies. I can't tell you how many mothers of the children or fathers of the children who come to see me have their own chronic health issues. And when they start to adopt some of those changes, some of their issues go away as well. Some of their own health issues.
Sounds like you're magical.
No,
are you?
No, all I do is I give the information.
Yeah.
And what people do with that information, they're the ones creating that magic, not me.
I want to ask you something personal.
Yes.
You have 3 children
Yes.
and a husband. Now, do all of you follow your wonderful methods and advice?
Well, you know, my 7.5-year-old daughter says that when she's grown, she's going to go to the grocery store and buy everything that has food coloring in it. They go back and forth. Sometimes it's hard for them. My daughter will have a piece of leftover quiche, some applesauce, and some steamed carrots in her snack. And the girl sitting next to her might have a chocolate chip granola bar and some sweetened yogurt. And my daughter goes, why can't I have those things? And I try to teach them never to pass judgment. It's easier said than done. But we go back and forth. I'm the main cook in the family, so
So they have to go on with that, or they're going to starve to death.
My husband has been great. I try to make sure he's on board. We went from being vegan and vegetarian to being, you know, going the other way and eating lots of animal fat and animal protein, and now we're at a point where we've phased out grains for a while. So I feel like whatever I'm going to suggest to a family, I have to walk the walk. I have to practice what I preach. And if I'm going to suggest something to a family, I better be able to do it myself. So they're my guinea pigs. But they're great. They've been very healthy, and I'm really
It does
thrilled.
make a difference.
It does.
It really does.
Yeah.
Nutrition. And it's the end thing. What was it like being a vegan?
Well, you know, we did that for a while because our first daughter was allergic to cow's milk through the breast milk. And so I had to cut out anything that had milk in it. And we just sort of took it from there. And we went through this philosophy for a while where we thought, well, the children shouldn't have animal products when they're young. And so I was not going to cook 3 separate meals, so I ended up just cooking it for everyone. And I learned so much. And of course, I learned why, for us, that was not the best way to go. And as we started incorporating animal products, for instance, in our diet, we ended up feeling much better, and I started learning why. What were the nutrients we were missing in the vegan diet that made us feel more lethargic? Or for me, I was cold all the time.
So we do need protein.
Yes, and fat.
And fat.
Don't believe what they tell you.
How do you feel when a client does not follow your recommendations?
Well, at first it was really hard for me.
Yeah.
Because I grow to care about the families that I work with. And I think, oh, but at the same time, again, my job is almost as a teacher and to give the information. And it's not my job to judge families because that's going to make it worse. They're going to run away. So I just have to simply accept it and hope that the seed has been planted, that one day they'll say, you know, maybe we should send her outside instead of letting her watch a video.
I think what you're saying is just so terribly interesting. I really do, Jennifer. How do you get this out? I always ask, you know, my guests that. I mean, with all these good things that each one of you do, but how do you educate people? How do you educate the masses?
That's really tricky.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of fear out there. And when a person goes to a conventional, I'll use my mom's case of my mother. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer last year. She had a very successful surgery up at UC Davis with a wonderful surgeon. And then she was faced with a choice of having chemotherapy and radiation afterwards, prophylactically, sort of just in case. And I was a little leery of that based on the information that I had read. So I gave her the information. And I said, just read this. And she chose to do it anyway, which is her decision. And so I had lots of questions for her doctors. And they had said, you need to have 28 days of radiation therapy. And I said, well, I said to my mom, okay, can you ask why 28 days? Why not 5? Why not 35? What is the mitigating factor here? What have the studies said? Are there any studies that show that 28 days is the number for someone with pancreatic cancer? Because as you know, that's a very scary cancer to have. And very few people are able to cure themselves of this. And so my mom went back and asked the doctor. And she said, well, it's arbitrary. There are no studies. And it wasn't until I saw, speaking of being sarcastic and cynical, it wasn't until I saw my mom's bill for her radiation, and I did the math. And 28 days of her radiation therapy meant $100,000 of revenue for the hospital where she was being treated.